So, welcome everyone to the Evolve podcast. Here, so you can connect with the power of your soul, rise above all your limits, and to give and receive more love in all forms. I am your host, Tanya Penny, an illness and trauma guide, spiritual alchemist, and author of the Connect with the Divine You book and journals, and creator of the Evolve Keys. And in today's live podcast, I am so excited to have with us Kasey, Speer, and Julius. We're going to be diving into the topic, the self-awareness journey. Amen. Resolving your limitations. That is what we are here to do this year. So for those of you that are new to Kasey, oh boy, 1 second. My computer's going nuts. The energy's already happening. This is so crazy. It's like 50 screens. So I'm going to have to pull up on my phone. Here we go. This has been happening lately, you guys. I don't know. This is so strange. So at a very young age, Kasey Speer began seeing and listening to angels, guides, masters. They were visiting her in her room, as well as getting intuitive hits of information when she was a child in regards to what was coming in life, and also able to provide information for family members as well. Kasey began channeling to her mother and brother after her father's passing, giving them insight and information. This continued on with the passing of a couple more dear friends and family members. Kasey was truly coming into her channeling and mediumship gifts. In 2008, the process began to unfold. Julius began to come through in such powerful ways. Kasey began to share her channeling talents to live audiences, television programming, telesummits, and online courses and classes. Kasey has come to realize what a powerful connection and relationship she has with Julius. They have arrived once again in this timeline to assist her on her ascension process, and also, of course, to assist you on yours. Welcome, Kasey. Thank you so much for being here with us today.
Thank you so much. And it is just joy and delightful to be here. Thank you, all of you who are joining us and climbing on. It is an honor to be visiting with you today.
So where do we want to start today? How about, let's start with well, first of all, do we want to start with you, or do we want to go and invite Julius in right away? What do you feel today, Kasey?
Yeah, we start just a little bit because once Julius comes in, that's going to probably be the ride. So Julius is always very excited and very enthusiastic to speak with everybody. But yeah, it is my delight to be the conduit for Julius. We have an amazing relationship. What I can tell people before we get into the conversation is that Julius was human at one time. So they're a collective essence. But they ascended through their mastery through the human experience, which is pretty rare from what you normally hear from entities or beings that are being channeled. Oftentimes they have not had their own human experience themselves, but rather kind of are observants, and guides for people. Julius has worked their way through all the stuff that we are working our way through. So you may find a great connection with them. You may feel that they truly do understand you, because they do. But also to let everybody know that Julius is a constant reinforcement that we are source. We are not connected to source. We do not have a relationship with source. We are source. So the narrative and the conversation today will lean in that direction. We hope that resonates peacefully for everybody, but even if it doesn't, it's all right. They're always going to approach you with honor, love, and integrity for whoever and wherever you are on your journey. So I always love to just point those couple of things out, because sometimes people find it comforting to know that Joyce is extremely relatable to their plight, to their stumbles, to their pitfalls, to their successes, and how we've descended so far away from remembering that we are source. So they have a good insight on all of that. And so that's really just kind of what I like to give everybody the heads up on. You'll know that Joyce is here. They're here. but they're going to refer to everybody as master, because you are the master of your experience. You are the one manifesting your reality for you. So they will constantly call you master, in case that's a weird thing for people, but it'll flow through the conversation today just fine. Okay.
Yeah, I remember the first time. Thank you for sharing all that. Because I remember the first time that I heard you and Julius, and I was like, Master. I was like, wow. And I was like, part of me was kind of taken aback by it. And then after a while, I was like, ooh, I like that.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah. Yeah.
yes,
Yeah. So
absolutely.
wherever you would like to, start in on the conversation, we will follow your lead, and everything's going to flow beautifully. No worries.
Yeah, as always, divine timing, divine flow, all of it. So, yeah. So, I think I'd like to start with the question since we're talking about self awareness.
Mhm.
I think there's a lot of different definitions out there of self awareness. So, would love to hear Julius's definition of what that really means.
Yeah. So, Master, it is a truth that everybody has their perception of thoughts, and everybody's perception adds a vastness and an infinite array to the possibility of anything that you perceive yourself to be. We will support that the truth of who you are is that you are source. And your journey is to become aware of that again. So, your journey into self awareness is your steps along the way that are allowing you to be stabilized and reinforced in the knowing that you are source. The characteristics of that truth, of course, align with an extraordinarily high vibration of love, compassion, empathy, and healing and awareness, and all of those magical words that most of you add to the conscious journey or into the metaphysical dialogue or the spirituality aspect of that which you desire to be. But in the human experience, masters, you have mostly identified through your limitations and your fears. You have constructed defensive personality tactics. You've constructed manipulation. You've constructed warring, anger. And when that is happening, master, your altered ego is governing you. And unfortunately, the altered ego has zero self awareness. It is the complete opposite of your soul. When your soul is seated and in alignment, it shall be aware of everything that it is and not judge any of it, which allows itself to be aware. When the altered ego is engaged, it will defend itself in its ignorance and will not allow any self awareness to come in. So those are the things that you are working with. Okay. When you do not know yourself as source, you are not completely self aware. And that's okay because you are journeying yourself back to that. But the challenge, master, is can you bring yourself to authentically be able to look at what you are so afraid of and your thoughts of defending your position? In other words, taking on the position of being a victim and defending that position, therefore keeping you from being able to explore the aspects of knowing yourself as source. So, self awareness is the ability to look at yourself fully, masters, with transparency and non-judgment. Without judgment, you'll be able to look at the limited aspects of yourself and work to expand them. But again, this takes bravery, it takes desire, and it takes a never-ending journey of non-judgment of self to be able to truly accept what you have become and create those shifts and changes. And masters, in that practice, you must be willing and you must be ready and able to practice the most difficult thing that humans have found themselves able to practice, and that is self love.
So, I'm hearing the biggest block to self awareness is self judgment.
It's true. It's true. And it's all altered ego. So That's good news. We perceive that to be good news because there are many ways for you to step away from the altered ego, to get yourself centered, to get yourself positioned in the now. But it's really, Master, if you think about it, you're the last one you look at. That is the truth. You look at everyone else, right? You look at everyone else. You become so smart, right? About what everybody else should be doing, what they're doing wrong. You're so smart, right? But to look at oneself is wise, not smart. So we are asking you to become wise, masters, in looking at yourself. And there's the most easy and simple way to do that, because we know that's your next question. Okay. How do you know who you are? And we will say, masters, look at your life, because you are your life. You are projecting your life via your vibration in every corner of your life. And if there is anything in your life that is a form of a limitation, you have a limitation. And that's okay, because once you discover those things, masters, or once you are able to recognize those things, then you can change them. You can shift them. You can expand them. You can love them, master. You can love them. So when you are in doubt of who you are being, look at your life. And hopefully you will be able to look at your life with honesty and transparency. And that is a magnificent place to start.
And compassion, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We want to define compassion, if we may, master, because it
Please.
is such a relevant statement. Okay. Many people believe that compassion is sympathy, and it is not. We do not want you to be sympathetic to another. We want you to be compassionate to another, and this is why. So, sympathy, master, is a judgment. It means that you feel sorry for someone or a situation. It means you judge it as being bad. So, it is an extremely low vibrational action. We don't want you to sympathize. You will add to the low frequency occurrence that is causing the limitation. Compassion is understanding what is going on through non-judgment and being able to act with wisdom in compassion. Okay. That is a high frequency, and that is where you will find your resolve. That is where you will find your solutions. That is where you will find your healing. Okay. And masters, of course, it is where you will find your empathy. So, though you have been programmed to be sympathetic or to sympathize with another, we would ask you to consider rewriting or canceling that program and going to the full accessibility and alignment of your soul being the most compassionate aspect of thought and emotion and combination. And it is so radiant, it is transformative. It is transformative. Sympathy adds to the fear and the limitation, and compassion transforms.
Beautiful. I'm glad that you explained that, because I think so many of us have been conditioned when somebody is going through a challenge, right, to get in the hole with them,
Yes, yes.
right?
And here's the cool thing. You can be drained when you're sympathetic, and when you're compassionate, you won't be drained. How many of you have ever gotten, as you were just saying beautifully, Master, caught up, right? You get caught up in something that may be very tragic in somebody's life, and you want to help, and you dive in, and pretty soon you're maybe kind of regretting that you dove in, because now you're in it, right? You're in the siphon, and they will clamor and they will adhere because they need a life preserver in their situation. And then you find yourself wondering if you have the ability to be a life preserver, and you don't want to abandon. So you get where we're going. So in sympathy, masters, your vibration is already low. And so it's very easily siphoned out of you. In compassion, masters, you are in high vibration, and you will continually feed the situation love and expansiveness, and you won't feel the drain that some people do should they choose to become involved with another.
Beautiful. So I'm guided to ask the question. I know many of us right now, many people listening, maybe live today, and definitely on the planet, because of what is happening politically, but also all of the, I'm going to say natural disasters, earthquakes, all of that that are happening. There is a lot of fear energy
Mhm.
right now.
Mhm.
And
There is.
so for those that are really in it right now, that are in their, let's call it the dark night of the soul, whatever you want to call it, they're in their stuff right now. It can be a little bit harder or more challenging to come out of that. So what suggestions would you have for people that are really in it right now, really in a lot of fear right now?
Yeah, thank you
Mm.
for asking that question, Master. So the very first thing we want to tell you is none of it's real. None of it's real. We know that it seems like a ridiculous statement for us to tell you, but it's the truth. It is a holographic projection of that which you choose to focus your thoughts on and your emotional response on. You're feeding it. You're feeding it, commonly known as a matrix. It's not real unless it is for you. So you accepting that it is real is keeping it alive and causing that energy to deeply affect your reality. You have the ability to choose, Master, which energy you're going to feed. You can sit back and be neutral, which is a wonderful place to be. Better to be neutral than to feed the fear, and start to recognize that there is a play playing itself out because there's massive changes coming. And right before a shift, there is a collapse, and that is truth. And that's nothing to be afraid of because you are source. To continually remind yourself of that every time you feel yourself reacting to the fear mongering that they're trying to get you to feed this into, and realize you're feeding the catastrophe. Energetically, you are so powerful, masters. First thing we would tell you is to not watch it. Truthfully, it's going to do what it's going to do, but the more you watch it and the more you participate with your fear, the more low frequency aspect or results that could take place. And we don't want this to be an overly fluffy or simplified conversation. It's the truth. We're just telling you that. And masters, we're telling you that you can choose how you respond. You may not think you can, but you can. That's your power. That's the power that either you surrender and give away to somebody else, or you hold it as sovereign. You can choose your state of being no matter what is going on. And we are telling you, Master, that it affects the outcome. It truly does. Your reactiveness is going to help to create most of everything that you're afraid that's going to take place. Unless you just sit back and watch the ridiculous fools play themselves out and allow a revealment to come forward and just keep feeding the outcome in a love response, in a positivity response. We're just telling you that everything that you are watching taking place is not real. We're telling you this, masters. There has already been resolve. There has already been solution. They're trying to figure out how to reveal things to you, and it has gotten so preposterous that a lot of people are just going, this just can't even be real. And we're like, bravo, then
Right?
there
It's so
it is.
ridiculous.
Okay.
It's so
Stop
ridiculous.
watching. Yes, it is so hilarious from a vantage point broad away. Okay. It is so over the top ridiculous. And masters, you get to choose to be the calm in the ridiculous. And if you can't, turn it off. Turn it off, masters. If you keep getting pulled into the reactivity because you're so programmed to do so, just turn it off. Seriously, go down to the beach, go into the forest, go out to the desert. It's going to be fine. The earth is not going away. All is well, masters. Let it keep going because amazing things are already here.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that. Yeah, I think that, not think, I know that it has had to get to the point, right, that it has to be so ridiculous for people to wake up and be like, are you kidding me? Like, this is like, how, really?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. And you can go at many angles at it, masters. There's so much going on so many levels. and you could get into all of the aspects of the commodity based earthbound system that is going through a shift. Everything's going to go commodity backed, and the fiat dollar is going away. It's going to change all of the economics. It's going to change the way the earth is divided, from states and regions and countries. Those things are going to be changed and shift. You can go all that third dimensional stuff. You can go all that third dimensional stuff. Okay. Who's running the show? Who isn't running the show? What are we doing? What's it like? All that third dimensional stuff that is going on. And then you can go higher and higher and higher into deeper and deeper aspects of vibrationally what is occurring, what that means for your holographic projection, what that means for the Earthship, what that means for the galaxies and the omniverses out there. You can go any direction you want to with the conversation, but it all comes down to this: things are changing very rapidly, masters. And whether you are aware of it or not, you have chosen that change. It is a truth. So step into owning the outcome of positivity, love, and light, and let it show itself. That's what we will tell you.
I'm so glad that you said that. You read my mind. I was going to say, so we knew when we came here, when we signed up to come, we knew that there was going to be this kind of challenge and this kind of crumbling
You
of
created
structures
it,
and
masters.
systems.
Oh,
Yeah.
no, you didn't know there was going to be. You created it. So remember, master, you are source. Okay. Just because you can't remember doesn't mean it's not there. Thank goodness, because you would be gone basically, because you mostly have believed that you die and you don't. So thank goodness that is not a truth. So it's not that you signed up to come. Who'd you sign up with? You are source. Okay. You do what you choose to do. Now, we can say that you, in a collective thought aspect, and all of you are fractals of the same thought, and you finally decided to say, let's go back to this third dimensional holographic projection that we all love to play on, and let's create some improvement, shall we? We would agree with you on that dialogue. We could agree with people who will say you signed up because their position is of separate and singular, and somewhere there's a tally sheet, and you go and you sign up for different timelines that you want to participate in, and somebody was like, this one's going to be a little on the rough side. You're like, I'm up for it. Let's do this thing, right? There's so much timeline shifting going on, and there always has been. So, Master, they've been shuffling timelines. Well, first of all, time's an illusion, but that's a really tough conversation. So we're just going to go with timelines, okay? They've been shuffling timelines for centuries, centuries, okay? There is no time and there is no date as to what you are doing. It just feels that way. Now, have they amped up the shuffling? They have. They used to shuffle timelines a few times a year. They're shuffling timelines daily now. It truly is. And you're all feeling it. You know you are. You don't know what you're feeling, but you're feeling craziness. Okay. So there is some crazy stuff. And you could feel helpless, or you can be hopeful in the knowing that you are stable, master, based on your frequency. And you control your frequency once you choose to do so. And we promise you, masters, that you will be living in a completely different reality than what anybody else commands of you.
Thank you. And I'm glad that you mentioned frequency. So when we are in these times, especially now, what can people do to assist with staying in that higher vibration, that higher frequency? I know you already mentioned nature, which is one of my favorite.
Yeah. So, Master, the very first thing that we would love to reinforce for everybody, because we know that people will say, oh, yes, I know this. And we'll say, no, we actually don't think you do. We think you believe it, but it is very difficult for people to fully come back to the knowing. Everything is frequency, masters. Everything. Your bodies are not real. You are not an embodied being. You are not. You are thought and emotion. Everything is frequency. And once you understand that, then you will make a very, very strong decision to only be concerned about your frequency. That's what high consciousness beings do. So high consciousness beings are not concerned about the goings on in their lives. They are only concerned about their frequency in every moment, because your frequency governs your life. That is the truth. That is so awesome because really, masters, it's the only thing you need to focus on. Everything else will roll itself out based on your frequency, based on your frequency. Okay. That is the biggest information that we can give you. It is the most powerful information. So then it comes down to, master, as you said, what is reflective of high frequency versus low frequency. Okay. So we will put high frequency and low frequency divided this way. High frequency is love and expansiveness. It is unlimited potential. Low frequency is fear-based, reactive, and has limitation to it. You are generally affected by the energy frequencies around you. So you get to evaluate through self-awareness whether the situation you're in is expansive or limited, whether your emotion that you are processing is expansive or limited, and whether your thoughts are either expansive or limited. That's a formula for you. Like, seriously, write that down. Okay. When you focus, you think about, how am I feeling right now? Like, literally, how am I feeling? Most people have no idea how they're feeling in any given moment. And you can choose love, you can choose joy, you can choose enthusiasm, you can choose creativity, masters. Anything anything creative is high frequency. Anything creative. Okay. When you are in doubt, pick up a piece of paper and start drawing a picture. Seriously, start singing a song, start pounding on a drum, start painting something. Okay. Anything creative, master, and your soul is engaged and it is singing during anything creative, anything creative. Okay. But yes, of course, the reduction of population is going to be more high vibration because the mass majority of people are in fear, and that's a dominant field of low frequency. So you want to get out of congestion. You want to get out of clustering and cloistering. You want to move your body. You want to limit the poisons that you are putting into your body. You want to choose high frequency thoughts. And masters, we can tell you one thing for certain. Anytime that you can conjure joy, you are in high vibration. Every time. The only exception to that rule is joy at the expense of another. That is not high vibration. That is manipulation, and that is fear-based. So we never want you to find joy in somebody else's misfortune, somebody else's punishment, somebody else's tragedy. That is not something you should feel joyful about. Get that thought out of your mind and focus on the truly blissful, joyous, expansive aspects of your life, or that which you choose to be that is inclusive, to be beneficial to everyone. That is true joy.
So love all of that. And I hear like this little murmuring. It's like, ask this question. And there's a lot of people that I hear, like, how can I experience joy when there's so much bad stuff happening to people on the planet? It's almost like people feel guilty for feeling joy because there's so much quote unquote bad stuff happening. So, what would you say to those that are in that
Shift your
place?
focus. Shift your focus. It's all about focus, masters. Staying centered amidst distraction is the journey. Stop thinking about all that crap. It's not real. Now we hear you. Yes, it is. My friend has cancer. Yes, it is. They're impoverished. We're like, okay, but we're telling you that it's a frequency, masters, and you can choose. And you are not helping the situation by ruminating on the low frequency stuff. Your rumination is contributing to the low frequency. And if you are seeking resolve, you go opposite to low frequency, masters. We don't care if you go play hopscotch with the dog. Find joy, do joy, do joy. Okay. And we know that you have been traumatized. We know, we know that there is sadness and misfortune. We know, masters, we do. But you are source. And if you choose to start practicing anything that brings you joy, and allow yourself to stay in that space, you will be able to stack on the high frequency instead of stacking on the low frequency. So, master, it's focus. You know that's true. It's focus. Okay. Anybody who has ever taken a tragic, a truly catastrophic or tragic situation that has occurred in their life and come out smelling like a rose at the end, or the phoenix rising, will tell you that very same thing. You have a choice. You do. Even though it has hit you, and when it hits you, you may not think you do, you do. And you get to pull up your big girl or boy pants and step into your power, masters, and create a discipline for yourself of that focused thought. And it's a formula. You can create a formula for yourself. How many times a day am I going to find something joyous? How many times a day am I going to step away from the madness in my life? How many times a day am I going to breathe deeply? How many times a day am I going to walk on the beach, get in the water, go sit under a tree? You create new patterns in your life, masters, and it starts by creating new patterns of thought.
Thank you. So I'm feeling like we're to open up for some questions now, actually.
Mhm. Mhm.
So I would love for everyone. I know Zoom's always moving things, but at this point, at least on my screen, there is a raise hand, and so we want to open up to questions. You can raise your hand. I think we can also put them in the chat if you don't feel like you want to speak out loud right now or be seen. And again, Julius, questions on anything, correct?
Mhm.
It can be
Absolutely.
it can be collective, it can be personal, it can be
Mhm.
if you're going through something right now and need some guidance. Julius
Mhm.
would love to offer that.
Yeah, yeah.
We'll just
You know what's interesting is
yeah.
the division of energies, masters, as we are speaking about high frequency and low frequency, is that it is really playing itself out in the human aspect. And you are finding probably that a few years ago, there was a major energetic, seemed to be a major energetic shift. And it seemed like what was perceived to be a gray area, questionable area, there was a dark light and there was this huge gray area where some of the dark, manipulative, coercive people could kind of hide. They could kind of hide in that gray area, and people couldn't see them, right? And they were getting away with a lot of nasty stuff. And that gray area seems to have gone away. And now it seems to be so clear to see the dark and the light, right? The dark and the light. It seems like the nefarious, nasty, manipulative, false is showing itself, right? Doesn't have anywhere to hide, right? And this is extremely painful in people's lives because they're starting to really see, oh my gosh, this person that I have loved so much is a terrible person, right? Things are falling apart, jobs are falling apart. The light is stepping up, it's stepping up, and it's stepping up. And what it has done, it has shown the light on the gray area. It's pushed the gray out. And so a lot of people, master, in the last few years, their lives have literally fallen apart because of what they're seeing. Secrets are showing themselves all, and it is a massive aspect of the demonstration of low frequency and high frequency. And what has happened with humanity is many people are starting to talk about the narrative of, gosh, there just seems to be so many more narcissists and empaths out there. We're like, yeah, there's like a division. You're either narcissistic or you're empathic. And so many of those people, they team together because they feed off of each other, right? Because empaths always want to fix and heal everybody, and there's no better person to fix and heal than the totally hopeless, narcissist that has no soul living inside of them, right? So they pair together until either the empath finally starts to step into their power and they either get discarded by the narcissist, or they choose to leave the narcissist, and it's so painful, so painful. And with all the
That is,
conversations, people are like, there just seems to be such a division, and we're like, yes, 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 that's that light coming through, coming through. And so it is an amazing time, masters, for all of you empaths to step into your power. Okay. So an empath in the past has oftentimes been trampled on, just trampled on, right? Or you have felt trampled on. Okay. You felt overwhelmed and trampled on, maybe even not even wanted to be here, feel like I can't get a break. I can't get an escape. Everything is affecting me. But then something amazing happens when an empath goes through enough tragedy, they will transform into the phoenix or the empowered empath. And then that becomes the transformative energy on the earth. And that's what's happening. We're seeing that in the last few years. So where we're going with what we're saying is all of you are empathic, of course, because you're following the nature of your conscious journey and you're finding your power, right? You're finding your power, you're finding your wings. And we promise you, Master, that there is nothing to fear. For one of the things that empaths fear the most is to be alone, because their nature is to fix and want to heal. So they love to bring these relationships in. And we promise, masters, that you're not going to be alone. You're going to team with other empaths. And that's truly where magic occurs. So we just wanted to speak of that because we know that that is also some of the issues. Like for yourself, Master Tanya, in your relationship, and we don't want to make this conversation about your personal life, but you know what we're speaking of, from your other relationship to this one, and becoming very aware of the partnering where the both sides are giving and supportive of each other rather than it being only a one-way situation. And your life is transformed in that way. And that also has enabled you or assisted you to continue healing yourself of your traumas and stepping into your ability to transmute others along that journey as well. And that's what empaths are experiencing at this time. And we want to applaud all of you. We truly do, because you have had the snot kicked out of you lifetime after lifetime after lifetime and no more. And that is a wonderful thing, is it not?
I'm so glad that you brought that in. Yes, I would say that everybody here obviously is an empath, highly sensitive, whatever you want to call it, or you wouldn't be here. And we have been paired up, like you said, with what a perfect pairing.
Perfect pairing.
Perfect pairing for us to
Yes.
to learn and to overcome and to so many people now, specifically right now, are being called to end these soul agreements and these soul contracts
Yeah.
and
Here's the
move on.
interesting thing. We want to say this because this is not spoken of enough. And this is something, perhaps, Master, that you will even convey to your beautiful audience often in a supportive dialogue. Empaths love themselves last. They love everybody else before them. And so when you team with a narcissist, Master, you will learn to love yourself. That's what it's for. That's what it's for. You'll have to, or you won't survive, because a narcissist will kill you. They will kill you with their frequency. They will kill you through illness. They will kill you with the manipulation and the mind screwing that they do to you and cause you to commit suicide. They will kill you to not be able to let go of them in their trauma bonding to you. So the rest of your life is miserable. And that's all reflective of your lack of self-love. So the narcissist is your final attempt to activate self-love for yourself. That's why you do it. Okay. It is so true. It is
Yeah.
so true. So when an empath learns to love themselves first, that's the empowered empath. So it's very important, we think, for all of you to be able to speak this to people. An empath is sympathetic. It's this sympathetic state. It loves itself last. An empowered empath loves itself first. huge shift, huge shift. Because when you love yourself, master, that's where all the things that you want to accomplish as an empath take place. It's the truth. Okay. And it's not your job to fix anybody. That's not our job to fix anybody. It's not anybody's job to fix anybody. It's demonstrating self-love to everyone because that's the fix. So self-love fixes everything in your life. It's not the same as being selfish in the aspect of disregarding everybody and not being compassionate. So self-love is not selfish, okay? Self-love is compassion, because when you love yourself, then you know all others are worthy of love as well, and you become the compassionate soul, not the sympathetic soul. We just thought we would bring that up because we feel like that's very relevant in this audience tonight.
Absolutely. And I guarantee that nobody here could ever be selfish. I
Right,
guarantee it. It's
right,
not in our makeup. It's not in our
right.
genes. It's not in our, like, we are so opposite of that. But I think that's a lot of people fear that. And we've been told that growing up by narcissists.
It's programming.
You're
Yeah,
being
it's the program.
selfish. I heard that all the
Right,
time from my mother, right? Oh, you're so
right,
selfish. Anytime I tried to do something that was loving for myself, I was told I was selfish.
right, right,
So it's just
right,
another manipulation.
right, right. And it's hard to break that program, master. It is, because all of the systems still support that narrative. They do. And so you almost have to be brave enough, and you'll be tested, because people who are used to trampling all over you won't like it when you love yourself, because here's what occurs when you love yourself. This is the most amazing thing. You do this really interesting thing, and it's called boundaries.
Oh, I was so hoping you would say the B word.
It is amazing. And those who are siphoning off of you will hate those boundaries, and they will kick the ever loving snot out of you, or they will attempt to
Yeah.
destroy you with guilt by ever putting up boundaries. But here's the amazing things: those that love you will honor your boundaries. They will tell you it's great for them to put up boundaries. They'll support your boundaries. They may even tell you what boundaries you should have, right? They're so supportive of your wellness and your aspect of self-love that they will go, yes, it's about time you put up some boundaries, right? And so just that alone will filter people out for you, right? Like if you have any doubts in your life as to who really is, really authentically loves you rather than uses you, right? You just start putting up boundaries and it'll become very clear for you immediately, right?
Oh my gosh. I had a client yesterday. We have a WhatsApp group, and she was like, my dad said these things and it really hurt my feelings. And I said, well, it is time to we're being called to set boundaries now. And she said, well, but it will probably upset him. I'm like, yes, absolutely. And that's okay.
Yeah,
And that's okay. Like, people can get upset and we don't have to manage their emotions.
right, right.
And
Yeah.
they will
And
likely get upset. They will likely
you
get
can
upset.
have, yeah, you can have somebody in your life. Like we always tell everybody, we truly believe that you're basically allowed to have one narcissist in your life. We're joking when we say that, but almost everybody will say, okay, well, there's one, right? And we really want to say it should be just a child, okay? It shouldn't be a spouse, and it should be a parent. Sorry, but that's our viewership on it, okay? And you can have one or two, but you just have to have boundaries with them. And you may have boundaries for them that you don't have for other people because they aren't needed. But you can navigate your way in a very manipulative relationship if you love them and want to have a certain amount of time with them, but you have to have boundaries. Otherwise, you will not be able to practice self-love. Should we say that again? If you have anybody in your life that you allow to manipulate you, harm you, cause you distress, bring you to tears, break you down, make you question your self-worth, and make you feel guilty, you are not loving yourself. That is the truth. It is a harsh truth, but it is the truth, Master. We hope that is helpful.
Thank you. Thank you. I do have a question in the chat.
Mhm.
Hopefully I'm saying it right. It's either Diane or Dian. And how can you heal your physical self?
It's all about vibration, Master. So your physical body is thought and emotion actualized. So we're going to explain this to you because this is amazing. This is amazing. So masters, your brain does not have the ability to make up thought. You can't think of anything that isn't. You can't, there's no such thing as imagination. There's no such thing as fantasy. Anything that comes into your brain is somewhere, somehow. Your brain does not create thought. It receives thought. It receives thought. Okay. Your brain has a pineal gland and a pituitary gland. Your pineal gland is where thought comes in, and your pituitary gland is where emotion filters through to meet that thought. In the middle of the brain, as soon as you process a thought, you have an emotional response to it. Whether you're aware of it or not, you do. That hits at the same time. And as soon as that happens, masters, an electrical current is sent through your nervous system. And that thought and that emotion hits every subatomic particle of your body instantly. Your body is thought and emotion actualized. It's a truth. If you are ill, if you are in pain, if you have a disease, if you have a disorder, you are demonstrating your perception. Your perception. Your perception is the way you view a thought. Okay. So the way you process a thought. And so if your body is in an erosive state, you are processing fear more than love. In order to heal that, you need to raise the vibration so that your subatomic particles do a reverse spin and heal themselves. So fear does a forward facing rotation on your subatomic particles, causes you to age and decay. Love will restore. That high frequency will restore and reproduce particles for you. So you got to change your thoughts and you got to process a whole lot of love, master, for yourself. That's exactly how you do it. Now, whether that is easy for you or not is up to you, but that is the practice of high consciousness. It is a truth. Now, we do support wonderful healing practices, high frequency healing practices, sound frequency, Rife machines, music, light frequency, infrared, great diet, oxygen therapy, yoga, meditation, moving your body, all of those things, of course, because they benefit your body in an amazing way. But master, if you don't change the way you think and feel, those things won't stick, because the minute you process a thought in sadness again, all you return to your calibrated state. So you have to recalibrate your frequency and your body will respond. So your body is showing you you're in fear. You're in a low frequency state. So you need to be grateful for that. So the first thing is to be grateful for what your body is showing you, because you're asking for a sign on how to shift your life and your body is giving it to you. So you get to love that. And then by loving whatever is causing you pain, master, because it's a communication back to you, you start working on your thoughts and your emotions.
I'm so happy that this topic came up, this question came up. As many of you know, I used to have multiple sclerosis. And, so when this question came up, Julius, right, and you were already talking about self-love. And self-love, yes, is getting a massage, or it's doing those nice things, but oftentimes it's also removing yourself, as you've been talking about, right, from those things that are not loving. And a lot of those things are relationships. I had to leave my previous marriage. I had to leave my previous job because the environment was toxic. Right. So oftentimes, right, you're talking about shifting your belief systems, and it's our belief systems that are keeping us stuck in unhealthy behaviors and unhealthy relationships. So, essentially, you're suggesting and encouraging us, we need to shift our thoughts, are those limiting beliefs and those fears, so we can choose different empowering, loving actions.
Yeah, and masters, that's um the thing that you have control over, whether you believe that or not. That's the thing that you have control over. So that's great news. Like, we're not telling you you have to go, by the way, go to India and climb the Himalayan mountains, and when you get to the top, there's going to be a secret box and you're going to cut. Like, we're not telling you that, okay? We're telling you right now, what are you thinking of and how are you feeling? And that you're working that, masters, all the time. And even though that seems overwhelming, we will tell you it's not. It is far more destructive to not pay attention to what you are thinking and feeling than creating what you are thinking and feeling. And it's just a practice. It's just a practice, masters, like anything else. And pretty soon it's no different than this. Okay. So fear, masters, causes your body to breathe very shallow and very quick. Okay. So the common person walking around is breathing 16, 17, 18 breaths per minute, whether you're aware of that or not. And those breaths are not full and rich. You're usually only breathing in about the top third, 1/3 of your lungs. And it's a Now, here's what's really interesting. This is so interesting, masters. You're going to love this, okay? When you shallow and fast breathe, you cannot connect to the conscious mind. You can't. The shallow and fast breathing keeps you connected to the altered ego, which is stress and anxiety, of course. Just breathing better, with more intention, with more richness, more fullness, will connect you to the conscious mind or commit. This is why in meditation, we have everybody go, okay, we're going to take deep breaths. We go through pranayama. We take everybody to 4 breaths per minute when we do breath work, right? Just that, masters, is going to heal your body. It's going to get your thoughts moving in a different direction. It's the pause, it's the focus. So there's so much you can do, masters. There's so much, but it takes you loving yourself to do it. It does. And that is a wonderful practice.
Julius, I love that you brought up the breath because it is so simple. And I mean, I've been teaching and doing breath practice since for 20 some years. And this year I went to like another level and was like, wait a minute, I'm still holding my breath a lot. Right?
Right.
Like I still have this GI, even though the MS is gone, I have this autoimmune GI issue that I'm healing. And I keep hearing from all my spiritual teachers, breathe.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
just focus on the breath more. And I'm like, seriously? Like,
Yeah.
I know this.
So here's your message. So master, it is reverse breathing that you are to practice. So if we may
Mm.
explain it to you here, it's something for you to practice. So masters, when you breathe, remember that your body is not real. And we know you're going to say, well, okay, that's a silly thing to say, but just keep that in mind for a moment. Your body is actually not real. It is a holographic projection of what you have accepted it to be. That is a truth. Now, your practice of breathing that you've been taught, whether you believe it or not, you've been taught to breathe. When you inhale, you expand your lungs. And when you exhale, you contract your lungs. That's the way that you think you are supposed to breathe. But masters, do you know that you can reverse breathe? You can actually inhale and contract your lungs and exhale and expand your lungs. And when you do that, masters, it will immediately heal your body. Every breath that you can take in a reverse action will move you into the now, and it will activate healing at an exponential rate versus your regular type of breathing. So Mysticis, so Far Eastern mysticism, Chinese mysticism, those mysticists reverse breathe every day. So do yogis. And they will do this for about 5 minutes a day. You can also do reverse breathing when you have an injury. So let's say you cut yourself, or let's say you harm yourself, right? And you stop and you go into a reverse breathing practice, master, you could halt that injury immediately, repair it, and it won't come forward for you. So when you are being spoken to about breathing practices, we're going to encourage you to start to play with reverse breathing. When we do our retreats, we take everybody through reverse breathing action. There is something else for you to do as well, if we may suggest it, because this is for
Please.
everybody. Okay. So masters, at the back of your spine, there is a lever, top of your spine, back of your head. There is a lever that moves sacrum fluid or spinal fluid through your body, okay, through your body. And that lever shuts itself off or locks itself up under stress, under anxiety, under fear, under anger, and under guilt. That lever will freeze itself up, and your sacrum fluid is not flowing freely up and through your head and all the way through your body, which affects your hormone flow, which affects the productivity of your body. So there is something that you can do every single morning to pop that lever open. And this is so interesting. Okay. So what you would do, masters, is if you would lie flat on your back, and you will take your thumbs and you will stack them on top of each other, and you will open your mouth and you will stick the thumbs at the roof of your mouth in that soft palate in the back. Okay. Now you can feel that soft palate. And what you're going to do is you're going to inhale, and you're going to contract your feet up into a stiff position, and you're going to press at the top of your mouth, and you're going to count to 4. And then you're going to release that, and you're going to straighten out your feet, and you're going to count to 4. And then you're going to press, inhale, hold it 4, pull your feet back, and then you're going to release, count to 4, and you're going to do that 4 to 7 times. And that's going to pop that lever open, and it's going to get your hormones flowing every single day for you. How is that one?
Wow, that's a new one. I have not heard of that before.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And does it matter what time
Amazing
of day?
things.
Like first thing in the
Doesn't
morning?
matter. No, but you got to do it with the feet too. So you got to contract those feet, release the feet, contract those feet, release the feet. And people don't understand the value. If you study cranial sacral massage, if anybody out there is a massage therapist, they'll understand cranial sacral massage. And do you know what else it relieves and releases, master? Trauma.
Wow.
Trauma from the body. Okay.
So scientifically, why do we hold trauma? Why does that get stuck there?
So your commonly, master, trauma is held in the hip region, on location on the body. So commonly, you become very, very limited in your hip region. So for women, that will transfer all the way around into your uterus, your reproductive organs, everything right around that hip and lower back region. So that's the common place for trauma to be housed. And this is why. Okay. So when your body experiences trauma, your body wants to contract itself into a fetal position. So anybody who's ever
Mhm.
had anything, you curl up on the bed and you're crying and you're all curled up in that fetal position. So what happens is your psoas muscles, which is the muscle that wraps around your hips, contracts and holds itself, pulls you into fetal position. That's your protective position. Okay. It's where you want to return to the womb where you were safe. When you are traumatized, your psoas muscles are always contracting, wanting to pull you into that protective position, and it will just eat itself alive. Your hips will become so tight, your back will become so tight. So that's in that so as reason is the response that your body has to trauma, because your body is trying to protect itself from trauma. And if you're not dealing with your trauma, more than likely you've got hip problems, you've got lower back problems. Okay. Anything on the right side, low levels. So low region, knees, ankles, hip, knees, ankles has to do with instability or trauma from your childhood, interrelated to your either right side male, left side female. So you didn't get the nurturing that you did either from your father or your mother, and you're carrying all those trauma wounds that way. But your sacrum fluid is the lubricant. It's the lubricant. So when you have all of that trauma in your body, master, you're dry. Okay. So you'll create dry spots from your sacrum fluid because your cortisol will take over and it doesn't lubricate your body appropriately. So this, what we just took you through, opens up that lever for all the sacrum fluid to flow, which allows the hormone flow to be more efficient in your body, which will help remove that trauma out of your body. Everybody get a great education tonight, right? On all the physicality and the science. Pretty interesting stuff, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I can't wait to try that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and my psoas, like it doesn't matter. I go to chiropractic, I go to massage, I've done trauma healing for how long, and yet the psoas still, yeah, twists, it
Yeah.
pulls and twists my right hip
Yeah.
still. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Because that's from your father.
yep,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And my shadow masculine mother. Um,
Oh, interesting. Okay. Okay. Yeah.
yeah. Well, thank you. Thank you. Oh my goodness, Julius, you've given us so much goodness. And I know there's a free gift and
Yeah.
also a program offer. So would you like to have Kasey come back and talk about those?
Yeah. Yeah. So, uh, so to Julius, um, talks to everybody about a primary universal teaching of consciousness called the 7 levels of consciousness. So in the human experience, you're going to go through 7 levels of consciousness before you ascend off of the earth. And so the foundational, what we kind of refer to as the foundational teachings of Julius, is the 7 levels of consciousness. And this course and this class could be one of the most valuable things that you ever do for yourself, because it will relate to any teaching that you do, any theories, any practitioners that you follow. It's going to break down for you where you are on your conscious journey, what frequency you're in, and where you are in your levels of consciousness. It is an invaluable course, invaluable. It's the it's the best thing that you'll ever listen to, and it's going to help you understand yourself, and it's going to help you understand everybody in your life. You're just going to be like, wow, I know this person, this person, this person. And it's referred to in all of Joyce's courses and classes. I do Joyce every week with different courses and classes for everybody. And this is the foundational teaching. And I think that Sue has offered everybody a discount on that.
Yes,
It's pretty
yes.
cool.
So I,
It's
I
pretty
dropped
cool.
it, and so I dropped it, everyone, in the chat.
Yeah.
So there is a
Yeah.
free gift called Julius Gift 2025. So there's that. And
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
underneath it, there is the levels of consciousness expanded in the link. And then the coupon code is Evolve 2025. And you could save $59 when you use that
Yeah.
code.
Yeah. Yeah. And thank you, Kelly, for your comment. That is extremely kind of you. The free gift is also a whole lot of fun stuff. So it's snippets from some of the teachings and the courses that we do, is, with Julius. So please enjoy that. Everybody, please enjoy that. But if you're curious, and just like we talked about with Julius tonight, I'm sure in the self-awareness, it's really, really important to get a grip on who you are, on who you are and where you are. And the thing that I will tell you is, um, don't judge yourself harshly. It doesn't matter where you are. Once you know where you are, you can move. So don't criticize. If you take that course and you start to think to yourself, oh my goodness, maybe I'm not as far along as I thought I was. It's okay. It's okay. Okay. Once you know where you are, love where you are and move because it's going to help you with that as well. So that's the only thing I want to tell everybody. Sometimes it's hard. Sometimes it's hard. I always laugh because I don't know about you, Tanya, but and I think all of you out there probably have experienced this, maybe for your own selves or even certainly with, practitioners that you've listened to. There seems to be a phase where that Julius refers to as spiritual arrogance, right?
Or the
Where,
Enlightenment
where
Olympics. Same thing, right? Same thing.
yeah, and it can be a block. It can be such a block for you, right? About the time you think you're done, you're way not done, right? And so, and we don't want to look at ourselves and be like, oh, maybe I'm not as great as I thought I was. And Julius just kind of laughs with love, for that. So we're going to push your way through it. So I always just tell everybody with an open mind, you want to take a look at yourself and see, how that self-discovery works for you. But that's that course. Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you so much for offering that for us, Kasey
Yeah.
and Julius. And yeah, I think that, to go back to what you just said, it doesn't matter where you are in your journey. Like you have to be aware of where you are and then not judge it and
Right.
not judge it, which is the hardest thing because we have been so taught to judge. We have
Yeah.
been so taught to judge
Yeah.
and that blocks our growth,
Yeah.
blocks our growth.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Yeah. I always laugh. Now I laugh and I'll say to myself, well, that was very level of three consciousness, that comment that just came out of my mouth, right? Or
Oh, I still have it too, especially with driving here in Hawaii. I mean, believe it or not, like that is like my biggest the stuff that comes out
Julia,
of my mouth when I'm
yeah,
driving. I'm like, oh my gosh, like really?
yeah. Yeah, Julius will laugh and say, "You want to test the level of consciousness that you're on? Just go to a family reunion at Christmas time, right?" So,
Oh boy. Yes. Yes. Go back with I always say that to my clients too. Go see your family and then let me know how that goes. That's gonna
yeah,
show you.
good Lord.
Oh, thank you so much, Kasey, and of course, Julius, for being with
Oh
us
my gosh.
today. And just wow, like I've learned
You know,
so much good new goodness today.
Thank you. And we were saying before everybody climbed on the podcast, and there were a couple of people that climbed on early, which was lovely. We started off this conversation saying, isn't it the best thing ever to just have a great conversation, right? How many times are you able to just have a great conversation with somebody, right? And it's just the best time spent. So thank you all. It's a great conversation, right? For the great time spent. It's truly a privilege and an honor to have been here with everybody tonight.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, everybody, for being here, for coming live, and for those that are listening as well to the replay. And again, everybody here is a leader, whether you identify yourself as that or not. And part of being a leader is sharing wisdom. So please feel free to share this live podcast. The replay email will be coming out tomorrow. And so, feel free to share it with people in your life, even if you think, oh, they're not going to listen to it. Everyone is here to awaken.
Yeah.
Everyone is here to awaken, even those that you're like, there's no way, them too, right? Them too, including my mother, which maybe I'll email her this podcast. We'll see.
Yeah. With love,
With love,
wrapped in a love package, wrapped in a
with
big
with
love package.
with compassion as always. With
Yeah.
compassion as always. So,
Yeah.
so yes, thank you, everybody. Thank you for your courage. Thank you for your willingness and readiness. And this is the year, right? This is the year. This is a big year for us. So thank you, Kasey. Thank you, everyone. And I hope to see you all soon. Namaste.
Good night.
Night. Hmm.